Welcome to Something to Talk About from the Bainbridge Island Senior Community Center. I'm Reed Price, and today we're going to be meeting with our friends at the Kitsap Regional Library. We're going to talk about some special services, things like programs for kids, young adults, and people with disabilities. Before we do that, I would like to thank the folks at Fieldstone Communities of Bainbridge Island for sponsoring Something to Talk About. They offer independent living, assisted living, and memory care up on Rolling Bay. They have day stay and respite care programs. There's a lot to see and learn about. You can check it out at fieldstonecommunities.com, or you can come by for a tour. If you call 206-594-1010, they'll be ready for you. Ask for Celia or Jamie, and if you ask, they'd be glad to treat you to lunch or dinner at their bar and grill. We'd also like to acknowledge that we are living and working and talking on the ancestral homelands of the Suquamish tribe, the people of the clear salt water. The Suquamish people have been living here on the Salish Sea since time immemorial, and we are learning from their stewardship of these lands and waters. So our regular KRL guest is Tressa Johnson, so I'm going to ask her to kind of set up what we're talking about today.
Thanks, Reed. I am really excited to introduce my colleague today. This is Gem Seddon. She is our Teen Services Librarian extraordinaire. We're really, the community is really fortunate to have her. And she's going to be talking about services and programs that, that the library provides for teens and tweens. I'm going to hand it to you, Gem.
Hi, thanks, Tressa. I'm just going to scooch in a little bit here. Hi everyone, thank you for having me today. My name is, as Reed just said, my name is Gem Seddon. I am English, not Australian. And I've lived on Bainbridge for about 12 years, and I've been at the Bainbridge Library since 2016. I started here as an assistant, and I slowly worked my way up, and I became the Teen Services Librarian about February 2019. So I was in the role for about a year before everything got interesting, shall we say. Yeah, so my experience working with the teen community here has been yeah, it's been kind of unique. Most of it has been during the pandemic, but I did have, as I say, I did have 1 year before that happened, where things were a little bit more kind of normal, dare I say. So I'm gonna try and not waffle too much too late, and tell you a little bit about some of the programs that we run here at the library for teens, the outreach, a little bit about our community partnerships, and then some of our other services that we have in branch for our young adults. So our regular weekly offerings for teens, we have our Monday Teen Space, which is a program that I lovingly sort of inherited from the previous teen librarian, Stephanie. And so I'm not sure how long this has been running for, but as Monday on Bainbridge is early release for the schools, we have our main meeting room is booked out, and the teens have that space from 1:45 to 4 o'clock. And we try and give them the space to sort of use it for whatever they like. And so I work with my colleague, Patrick Golke, who's one of our long-term associates here. I feel like everyone on this island knows and loves Patrick. So we like to try and put board games out. We'll have like coloring sheets out. We've got a load of retro gaming consoles that they really love. We put together a Dungeons and Dragons kit, which we leave out, and the kids can use that if they like. And then in the last year, we've started playing movies every Monday. So we'll just pop a film on. Sometimes they'll sit and watch it avidly, and sometimes it's just kind of background noise for them. But it's really about establishing that space that's sort of for them, really. And we kind of put all these things out and give them activities. But then we try and pick up cues like, oh, if there's certain things that they're not kind of vibing with, then we'll stop offering it and we'll try and cater a little bit more to certain trends. When I first stepped into the role, there was a couple of video games. There was like Overwatch, gosh, and another one I can't remember right now. And that was all the rage. And we had about 20 gaming laptops that were set up, and they would that was all they were really interested in. So it's really about keeping an eye on like what's happening now that they're into, and you've got to continue to kind of iterate, depending on that. And obviously that's changed quite a bit in the last 5 years.
Do you end up with the same kids showing up, or does it vary from time to time, and how busy is it in there?
Yeah, it's so lovely actually. Each school year will be so Patrick and I will talk fondly about like, oh wow, each year we had, remember a few years ago we had that group that were into this, and we had so and so that would come. So I'd say throughout the school year we have the same sort of group, and it varies between like I'd say 15 and 25 teens each Monday. Some of them will come and they'll just hang there all afternoon, and some of them will come in, grab some snacks, sit down for a minute and then bounce, and that's cool too. You know, and we kind of stay in there and chat to them, and we're sort of this sort of impartial couple of adults, and we're usually just chatting away about whatever the movie is, but it gives them a space to come and talk to us as well. Yeah, so that's our teen space. We also have Dungeons and Dragons and Dogs on Tuesdays. So that started a couple of months ago. So it's a D&D group for teens and for sort of grade 7 through 12. It's mostly tweens that are actually attending that. So we've got a few kids that are a little bit younger. They're in the 6th grade. Yesterday we had 10 that were in attendance for that. Only 10, but it was very raucous in there. You'd think there were 100. It was great. And our DM who runs it, she brings in therapy dogs as well. And it's really, really lovely because we have all sorts of different sort of skill levels that come in. So if the room's getting, sometimes, as I say, it can get quite loud. And some of the kids are like, oh, I kind of need to decompress for a moment, and they'll go and sit with the dogs and hang out and just sort of chill out with those. Yeah, so that's been a new addition to the programming slate, and it's been a success so far.
So who manages the dog visitors?
So our DM, her name is Shay Kennedy. And she works with all sorts of children from different ages, different skill sets, some neurodivergent, and she also trains therapy dogs, as well as having her own who comes each week as well. Yeah, she's fabulous. I can send along her information to put in the show notes if you're interested as well.
That'd be great. Sure.
Yeah, so those are some of our weekly things. We also have like one-off programs for the kids. This year, we recently just had our Teen Fright Night. It's our 3rd year that we've run the program. It's our sort of spooky program around Halloween. The library's closed to everyone apart from teens. And we have all sorts of different activities that they can do. We have like interactive ghost stories. We have a spooky D&D. We had someone reading tarot this year as well. Yeah, we have all sorts of different, like, our biggest hit has been zombie Barbie making, which is where they kind of cut up Barbie.
I can imagine what that is, because I had Barbies in my house when my kids were younger, so they came out looking pretty well. Well, it looked like the Barbie movie, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we're trying to promote that. It's like, be creative. And they were, I mean, I have some at my desk. They are very creative. And I feel like that's what Barbies, they were meant to be destroyed. So, and it was so that we had so many and they were so great. We had a little contest at the end of the night. And so we gave away some prizes as well for the most disgusting one, which was fun. Yep, so that was one of our most recent programs. So we also do a Pride program every summer. We have a holiday movie party for tweens. We've got one coming up in December. They'll be sort of decorating some cookies and watching a movie. We've got a candle making program for teens as well at the start of December. So a lot of the work we do is to try and create relaxing recreational spaces for teens. I've worked to try and encourage all sorts of different spots. Like if they want to have like study help, if they want to figure out like how to get their driver's license, we do have a lot of sort of informational programs. But I found that those have been like less well attended than the ones where they can just kind of come and hang out.
Do you feel as though the library offers something that I know that, one of the things I've heard for years is the challenge of places for teens to hang. And I know that there have been, there used to be a teen center. I know that Bainbridge Youth Services tries to respond to some of these needs. Younger kids often go to Boys and Girls Club. Sort of how do you see the library in the constellation of that sort of support network for young people?
Oh yeah, we are definitely a part. We work to get in concert with those other organizations. So we're open at different times that the teen center's open and BYS. And I know a lot of the folks that work there at those organizations too. Yeah, I mean we're just like another sort of a branch on that tree, if you will. I am a sort of staunch defender of teen spaces. Naturally, it's part of my job. We have a teen room in the library that is just for the kids. And that's something that's we figure out ways to make sure that folks don't go in there if they're not teens, which can be quite difficult at times.
Yes, I know that. I think there is one room that has some hours that are reserved for teens. And I have a friend who was like in there doing some work, and it was like, no, time for you to go.
Yes. That was probably me. Yes. Like, this looks great, but you have to leave.
That's right. That's right. Go to the senior community center. They'll have a space for you. So I'm wondering, it sounds like that kind of collaboration is great. I'm wondering if because of the familiarity with the library and being able to hang out there, do you feel as though some of the resources and other things that might be more traditionally associated with library services are at least within an arm's length for some of these kids?
Oh, absolutely. I'd say that most of the teens that come and hang out here check out books here. And they will also read books while they're in the branch. So sometimes, we can sort of look at statistics and see that maybe teens check out fewer books, but they use those items in the building as well. Yeah, so there's a lot of that happens. And I do. For the last several years, I've worked on an outreach program with our nearby schools. So the last last 2 Septembers, we've had 7th and 8th graders from Woodward Middle School. I've been in talks with one of their teachers, and so they come over and visit the library, and we kind of do an introduction session. And we tell them, here's how many items you can check out, and here's like all the databases that we have. And because of the pandemic, those 7th and 8th graders that might have accessed the library at a younger age, they kind of slipped through the net. So it's been really great to see, this year we had 275 7th and 8th graders over a couple of days. It was brilliant. And we got to see all these new faces. And there were so many kids that we didn't recognize from just hanging out in the building. So it was like, this is really important work that we're doing with getting them out here and then getting them all library cards too,
Yeah, and you're located so close to the school campus. I mean the middle school kids not so much, but there's buses. They're right there. They're coming through. So there are people. It's pretty easy for people to find and visit the library.
Yes. Yeah. And then some of them like are happy to they walk over from Woodward, and so we have programs that now will change the time so that they can get here to attend those programs, and that's all been through that sort of work with the school, and getting to meet them all through that program. So yeah.
Oh, are you and Patrick pretty much able to manage that? Do you have any volunteer connections, ways that people might want to help, or have you got it underhand?
Oh, so Patrick and I work on the Teen Space, and we work on Island Film Group, which I recently took over after our other adult service librarian John Fawcett left. But for the sort of working with the schools and like all those sort of outreach programs, I work very closely with our youth service librarian, Isla Soto. And so, because we have a lot of overlap with the demographic that we serve, so we're always like helping each other out with programs and outreach. And so I'll help with her school visits when she has third graders come to visit, and then similarly she'll help me when we have the middle schoolers. So in terms of if people are wanting to volunteer, we do have our teen volunteer program up and running again, but by evidence by its title, it is just for teens, but that's also been another wonderful service that has been greatly missed since 2020, and that just started up again this past May, and right now we have 3 dedicated weekly volunteers who I can't say enough great things about them. They're just wonderful teens who we like. All the staff here knows them pretty well by now. Yeah, and that program was really important for all sorts of like getting teens used to the process of like applying for work, and they come in for an interview. They have to fill in forms and do a background check. So it's all this sort of like workplace readiness that we have through that program as well. And then like just, showing up each week, and that all of that sort of surrounding the program is sort of just as important as the actual tasks that they do while they're here, which is also a lot of fun.
And the tasks are things like shelving or organizing, cleaning things up, supplies, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so our volunteers don't shelve. That's a staff duty. But they help prep crafts for programs. They do clean. We have lots of things that need cleaning from story time. So they help with that. They make buttons that we have at programs too. Yeah, it really just depends on what's happening that week. So I like to think it's kind of fun for them because it's never the same each shift. So yeah,
That's neat.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share?
I feel like I've talked for too long, Reed, so I'm gonna
Well, I learned a lot there and had some misconceptions corrected. I see Susan is here. Do you have any questions about the youth services?
I don't. I already visited before you came on, Reed, because my grandchildren are like 11 and 8 and 6. And they use the library all the time, but I don't think they're using any of this particular. I'm going to mention it to Kelly when I talk with her next, that there is a tween. Is 11-year-old a tween?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to let her know about that, and because because she works full-time at home, the mother, it would be nice to have something that Ayla could come and do. Yeah. So yeah, really.
Okay.
Enlightening, and it's a great little library.
Yeah, it's a great service, and we're grateful to have such a wonderful staff. And now we're going to switch gears here a little bit, I think, and Tressa's going to talk a little bit about disability-related services that that you can get through the library, right?
Yes, I am. I do want to, as a segue from Gem's talk, I want to say how it does get a little bit louder in the library, but it is when the teens come after school, and that's exactly what that's exactly what we're here for, right? Is to have a comfortable place for everybody, and as a community, we are interacting, we are asking questions. I don't work work the programs that Gem does.
Yes, Tressa, yeah.
But I do love working on the service desk Monday and Tuesday afternoons because I get to watch the teens. They just are, as they're, I love the teens as they're transitioning from one stage of life to the other. And it's just super fun. And Gem does such an amazing work. So services for people with disabilities. Now there are three different areas that I could talk about. One is our built environment, our digital environment, and then services that we offer. And so I'm going to focus today on the services that we offer because we do have quite a few things that are available to folks. We have mobile services department. And what that means is that if a person is homebound, whether it is long-term or short-term, we have a department of our library that will come and deliver books to you and then pick them up the following month. It's a fabulous service. It is, and it's wonderful to know about. So if you are recuperating from surgery or an illness, you can have just temporarily have these items brought to you and taken back to the library. Or if you are, for whatever reason, homebound, you can also have those services. We offer large print items on audiobooks on CD. Our DVDs are, many DVDs are made accessible to people with visual disabilities. There's a, so you can turn on this function and there'll be audio that that describes the scene that is occurring so that if you can't see the screen or can't see the detail, it's being made audible for you. As well as DVDs that are captioned, of course. I think really, as I was preparing, I think really the biggest service that we provide is informational. We do have a service called Book a Librarian, where you can ask a staff member or you yourself can get on the website and just fill out a Book a Librarian form. And then if Bainbridge is your home library, you'll hear from me and we'll schedule a time when the two of us or three of us, if there's another member of the family that wants to come, we'll sit down together and I can answer some questions. I can help with downloading. I can talk about other library services, library programming. There's also, you don't know what you don't know, right? So I'm fortunate to be in a situation where I don't necessarily provide these services, but I know where to go to get services. And so sometimes I'll sit down with someone and they want to know how to download audiobooks. And I discover it's because they're losing their vision. Well, there's the Washington Talking Book and Braille Library, which is a wonderful resource for those folks. Perhaps we sit down together and they talk about having trouble getting up and down their stairs. Well, there's let's see, what's it? Independent living, a portion of Housing Resources Bainbridge, where they will come and assess the home and install material that will help you stay in the home safely. So there's just so much available to folks and so many connections that we could make. That Book a Librarian form, I think, is really helpful.
Just going to throw in here that the library is, thanks to you, Tressa, a partner in a program online called BI Resource Directory. We call it BIRD. So it's biresourcedirectory.org. And many of these services can also be found online by doing searches there. But sometimes, especially if you don't know what you need, being able to talk to somebody to think about what might be a connection can be helpful, because the web only gets you so far sometimes.
Mhm, mhm.
That is quite true. And that's actually a nice segue to say that our website is actually our IT department or our communications department have worked to make our website more accessible, so that there are some guidelines, I think international guidelines for accessible websites. Our website is available. Our website has, I forget what it's called, but under every image or with an image, there's some text written. So if you have a screen reader, they, because to help you see the site, it will tell you what the images are. We have alt text is.
I think you got a lifeline there. I was
I
going
do.
to
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. They have also worked to make the website accessible if one does not use a mouse. So that you have keyboard access. It is accessible via screen reader. So our website, although working on the web can be challenging, but our website, they have made steps to make it accessible to everyone in the community.
Tressa, do you have ebooks that people who just want to download it onto their Kindle or their reader of some sort, iPad, whatever?
We sure do. Ebooks, audiobooks, and magazines. Also, we have over 3,000 magazine titles, I think, that you can download, and then you can read on your device without being connected to the internet, which is fabulous. And not only that, in the state of Washington, when ebooks first became available to libraries, which I think was maybe 2010, all of the county libraries in the state of Washington agreed to give library cards to each other's card holders, which means if you have a Kitsap Regional Library card, Kitsap County Library, with that card, you can get a library card at Pierce County Library System or King County Library System. You can put those, and you can use those systems to download as well. It just gives you access to so much more audio and reading and text.
just note that I think we went into depth on that of some time ago, and we have the video of Tressa walking through where to find that on the website, which I'll put a link in on this program notes as well.
Thanks, Reed. And I said I wasn't going to talk about the built environment or the digital environment, but I did talk about the digital environment. So I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the built environment. The building is, of course, ADA compliant, but ADA, those requirements I think of are really kind of bottom of the floor. So we are always working to make the building, make our services more accessible. The owner of the Bainbridge Public Library building and grounds are owned by the people of Bainbridge Island. It's managed by a nonprofit board called the Bainbridge Public Library Board. Staff and all of the items that you see in the library are funded by your tax dollars, for which we are grateful. But the building owners, Bainbridge Public Library, share the mission of the library. And so they have taken steps to make their meeting room accessible. They have installed, it's not currently working, but they have installed a hearing loop in the meeting room. It did unfortunately stop working. To their credit, as soon as I told them that it was no longer working, they came and they have been working on it. So we also, in the meeting room, you may be familiar with the black plastic chairs that we have. We also have these light colored wooden chairs, and those are contrast with the carpet so that it's easier to see. And also those chairs have arms so that you can get in and out of a chair with arms, and those are available. We don't typically put those out for lecture programs, but we do have them, and we have them in the room. we're always, we're excited that we have actually stickers outside of both of our doors so that if for some reason the electronic door button is not working, there's a phone number. So if you have a phone, you can call someone, will come open the door. Not that's not perfect. Much rather have people, be able to use that. But in the instance that something isn't working, we still want to make sure the folks can get in.
That sounds good. That's one of the things that we're looking at as we look forward to the possibility of an improved senior community center as well. We do have, we put in doorbells instead of the button, the phone numbers. Anyway,
That's a great idea.
but maybe they'd ring all the time. I don't know. Maybe there could be a light on the desk. Anyway, again, I've learned a lot about the activities and availability. And that book, A Librarian, is a great way to find out what you don't know if you know that you need some help.
Really good.
Yeah, is there anything else you'd like to add? I certainly want to thank you for coming by today.
I think I've said too much.
No, no, you guys,
No, it's been
that was
delightful to talk
great.
to you.
that
Yes.
was really
The
great.
truth is, either one of us could talk about the library for, a long
Hours,
time.
yeah.
Well, of course.
If
That's
I come
good.
up in March, I will come by the library with my little grands and they will raise havoc, of course, and then you'll show me how to fix it.
Thank you
Thanks a
for
lot.
thank you for what you do for all of us in the community. It's a wonderful library and I certainly enjoy the services myself. Have a good afternoon.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.